And I think people are going to like your answer a lot more than mine. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. You're really optimistic. Okay, we've spoken a lot about genetics. You have amazing genetics. Jay Cutler, Big Ram, all obviously amazing genetics. What about the people that don't have amazing genetics? Can they eventually get a pro card if they just work hard enough? Like, how important are genetics? Is it like, so some people have to realize not everyone can be a pro. Like a lot of people think, no, if you take enough supplements of all kinds, you can eventually do it. And I'm personally thinking, what's wrong with you? Half the people I see taking supplements don't even look like they work out. What is your opinion? You think that you can take any average guy, you know, with the hard work, dedication, the best trainer in the world, you know, could they get a pro card?
Yes. I mean, I do think so. They just have to be very on point. They never miss a training session, never miss a meal, train as hard as possible. Like, it all comes down to how bad that person actually wants it. You know, like some people say for me, I'm a little too extreme because I take it to a level where it's like an obsession. Like I don't go out, I don't party. I literally stay in my house. I go out periodically, but not too often. And I just eat, sleep, and train. And people are like, well, why don't you want to have a life and do this, do that? I look at it in a sense where bodybuilding is probably the only sport that is like, you won't do it for long. Like there's no longevity with bodybuilding. So I could retire when I'm 31, when I'm 32, whenever I'm just like, I'm done with this. And I have things planned that set me up for down the road. And then that's when I'll start living life. Right now, there's a goal at hand. And that's, you know, that's the main goal, is to win Olympia. So I'm very focused and I'm very obsessed. And I think anyone with that clear mindset can achieve anything, shit genetics or not.
And I think people are going to like your answer a lot more than mine. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. You're really optimistic. I'm hugely pessimistic. And I'm wondering because, so I see you have such amazing genetics and you've been able to lift weights and you try different training programs, you get a lot of muscle. And I've been a coach and myself and my brother, like, and, you know, and I see a lot of people and some people, they train really, really hard and they're doing the best they can. And they just can't seem to pack on the muscle. I'm picturing like that ectomorph frame, like the marathon runner type body. I bike ride with a lot of cyclists, and I'm thinking that guy they could spend $100,000 a year on supplements. They could have the best trainer eat, and they would never win an amateur show, is what I'm thinking. But I mean, I'm sure everyone's like loves to hear you because it's not fun for me to say, hey, guess what? Your genetics suck. You're probably never going to look good. Like, that's kind of my attitude. I'm more like, hey, your genetics suck. You can still get a lot better, but you're not going to look even as good as me as a natural. Like back in the day when I was natural, most people on steroids, I don't think can even look as good as I did natural. And frankly, I was winning overalls as a natural competitor against people taking anything. And so my personal belief, PDs and stuff, maybe can help you like 15%, like it's the icing on the cake. But the genetics, the hard work, the training, that's the bulk of it. That's just like the extra. And so I personally don't think you can take like your Mr. Skinny Fat kid and take all the supplements they want, and all of a sudden there are 220 pounds of muscle.
No, I mean, to a degree, yes. But like, for me, I was doubted my whole bodybuilding career. Like, I don't know how much you watched or followed me, but I said I was going to win New York Pro. Everyone doubted me, and I did it.
I watched all of that. Yeah.
That I was going to win the Arnold. I really got a lot of shit for that, and I won it. I said I was going to be in the top 5 of the Olympia. No one believed it, and I did that. So I just think it's really cool when people can speak up and then have all this doubt and then prove everyone wrong.
Absolutely. And I don't see that as being cocky. I see it as being very realistic in terms of your goals. I used to be accused, and probably still all the time, of being extremely cocky because somebody say, well, how do you think you're going to do in the powerlifting meet? I'll say, well, I'll probably break the world record by, 20 pounds, and be like, well, I'm just telling you what I'm going to do because I know I can do it. And then I go and do it. And then they're like, oh, asshole. And it's like, I'm just saying what I think. And then when I became in a pro bodybuilder, how do you think you're going to do in your next show? I don't know, maybe top 10. Be like, well, that's a loser attitude. I'm like, no, I just realistically know that for me, top 10 is where I can be in that show.
Well, that's the thing. It's like a lose-lose, right? You talk about you winning a show. Now you're the most cockiest guy ever. And then you can say, I think I'll get like eighth. And that's like, well, what, you don't believe in yourself? Like, you can't win either way. So I'm a firm, but just taking the approach, like, I'm not cocky. I'm just confident in my abilities. And if you don't like it, you don't like it.
Exactly. I don't see it as being cocky. I see it as being confident and just saying like what you're opinion. Now, if you say I'm going to win the Mr. Olympia my first show, and you realistically can't win it, then that's just being BS. Like some people say, I'm going to win this show my first, and I'm like thinking, you barely won your pro card. You're not winning the pro show. So to me, it's like, be honest, be realistic. Don't say you're going to bench press 700 pounds when you're only doing 500. But if you're at 500 and you say you're going to do 550 and you see the progression, then why not?
I agree. Yep.
Okay, we spoke a lot about teenagers, young people. We've been talking about bodybuilders and progression. What about natural supplements, like over-the-counter stuff? And you're a younger person, a teenager. What would you recommend possibly, or do you not recommend any supplements for teenagers? Like I'm talking 18, 19 years of age. What supplements do you think natural are the best ones to take? Like if you've been training a couple of years and you want to venture into, of course, natural legal supplements, what do you think are the top three?
Are you talking like health supplements?
Supplements for your health. It could be to prevent heart attacks. It could be to build muscle, like creatine, beta-alanine, caffeine, L-citrulline, anything that people would take as far as supplementation goes to build muscle or to use for any purpose as a teen.
I think creatine is very important. There's so many studies on creatine like that helps build muscle. I think that's a given. Some people don't use it, and it's fine. I mean, I don't use it all the time, but I do think it plays a very beneficial role. Citrulline, I think, is a very good product to include, just because that just builds up more blood flow, helps with the pump. And honestly, I think EAAs. I think EAAs are essential. I mean, it helps repair the muscle, helps for recovery, helps from the muscle breakdown. And I think every beginner should have some sort of EAA in their system.
Now, do you take any supplement that has all these three in, or are you taking these? Like, what do you personally take?
The company I'm with, Hostile, they have their pre-workout called Bloodshot, which has all that it's a pump formula. Or you can have their Hostility, which is pretty identical, but more caffeine loaded. But they also sell those products separately as well. So you can kind of create your own pre-workout.
And do you have like a discount code or anything? Like if somebody's interested in getting this, like what would they do?
Yeah, they just go on the website and they could just use my code Mutant.
Okay, awesome. Now, getting back to the supplements you mentioned, creatine, I have to agree 100%. There's so many hundreds, if not 1,000 studies that show that it works. Citrulline, I love it. Great pumps. And essential amino acids, it's a more controversial one. I am a fan of it. I think it works. Right. The studies I've read will say this, but so many people think, oh, it's BS because you can get everything from whey protein. Yes, you can get everything from protein, but for people who are on a diet or perhaps not eating a lot of protein, especially vegans, vegetarians, they're not getting the quality protein that they need. Essential amino acids form all the amino acids that the body needs to build muscle. And so if you're sipping on these amino acids, it allows you to get, the protein amino acids you need all day long. If you're at the gym, you're going for a walk, whatever, it's always there. Plus it encourages you to drink more. So for me, EAAs are huge, but I get a lot of flack for that because for some reason people think that it's some scam, that it doesn't work.
I think it works. The way I like to do it, I like to drink the essential amino acids during training. And then sometimes, depending on how the day is, I like to even do a scoop after training.
Yeah. And for me, it's like an insurance. It's not like you don't need it to build muscle, but a lot of people, they skip a meal, they forget, they're busy. And so if you're drinking that, it's kind of like an insurance, similar to, in my opinion, vitamins. I don't think you need vitamins, but most people, they're not eating enough fruit and vegetables. They're skipping out. They're broccoli. Who needs that? So they're not getting enough vitamin D or whatever. And so they get their vitamins and then that helps them, or greens. You don't need greens, but like if you're not eating a great diet, these things can help you in the way that if you're missing out, it's there for you.
I agree. Yep.